What's up, guys? Welcome to what's going to be the last video in our CSS course series here on YouTube. Today we're going to finish up with like a little mini project, and we're going to take all of the concepts, or most of the concepts that I taught you in these lessons that were a little bit of theory mixed in with some practical use cases to build a full project from an actual professional design. So to do that, we're going to use a website called frontendmentor.io. And this video is not sponsored. They have no idea that I'm even a person, but it's just a really helpful website to help you practice web development skills. And what it does is it gives you challenges. So I'll show you. Click on challenges here. And it gives you the opportunity to download these challenges and download actual professional design files, and then go ahead and build them into real websites using front-end technologies. And there's even some projects here that you can make full stack projects with a backend language as well. But today we're going to go ahead and we're going to do an easy one just so we can practice our CSS and HTML and adding everything together, and we can build that skill of looking at a design file and making a website from a design, which is a huge skill if you want to be like a professional web developer, or if you want to get hired by a company, or even if you want to freelance, you should still know the basic skill of looking at a design and getting the images for it and copying it and turning it into a website. So what I'm going to do is I clicked on challenges, and I'm going to sort by easiest first, or easier first difficulty. And I'm going to hide all the ones that I've completed. And then I'm going to go ahead and select this one, this product preview card component. So this is like a little, it's kind of like a little card that you would see on like an e-commerce website to buy something. This one's for perfume, and then we have an add to cart button. So we're just going to do the HTML and CSS for this one. We're not going to add any functionality to add the cart. We're not going to like make a shopping cart. We're just going to make this little section of the website, and it'll be really good practice. So this is the desktop view. So simple enough, and then this is what it looks like mobile. So we'll even get a chance to do media queries and make this little component responsive on phones, which is a huge skill to have. So should be pretty fun. So we're going to go ahead now, and I'm going to click Start Challenge. If you don't have a front-end mentor account, this challenge is free. So literally all you have to do is just sign up for a front-end mentor account with your email address or a GitHub. If you have GitHub, you can sign up really easily, and then you can just start doing all the free challenges you want, I think. And then there's like a pro tier where you can do premium challenges, which are like full websites and a little more complicated. It's like $12 a month. So, but you can do this completely free, guys. So I encourage you to sign up to a website like this. There's other websites like this out there, because it's really good practice. But I'm going to hit Start Challenge here, and I'm going to download the starter, and I'm going to download the starter design files for Figma, because I have Figma. And it says I've got 10 credits. So they give you a certain amount of credits to use professional design files, which is fine. I have 10. And they roll over. I think you get like 2 or 3 what they call design credits a month, and they just keep rolling over. So I haven't used it. I think I signed up for an account, and now they're just rolling over month after month. But I'll hit accept and download, and then the README file is all the information you need to get started. Okay. Use whatever tools you like. We're just going to be using plain HTML and CSS, and start coding. Okay, got it. So cool. I'm going to close this, and I'm going to open up my Figma. So guys, this is Figma. This is like, it's a free to download web design software for web development. I'm not going to update it right now. If you don't have Figma, again, it's this little logo here. If you don't have it on your machine, you can go download it for free. I think you should go to like figma.com or type in Figma on Google, and you can download it for PC and Mac. There's a web version. You can just use it as a web app, or you can download the desktop app, which is what I did. I recommend you do. And it's completely free. I'm not going to go through how to download something. You should know how to do that by now. Just sign up with your email, download it, and then let's go to home here. These are all the different designs that I've built so far in this account. So this saves all your designs. So remember, we downloaded the Figma file. All right, guys. So I'm gonna open up my Finder. I'm gonna go ahead and click on Import in Figma, And then I'm going to select it. Remember, you have to unzip this before you can select it. And then I'm going to click on this here, this .fig. So product preview card component .fig. And we're going to hit open. All right, file imported successfully. Done. Oh, it's right here. Okay, so here it is. Here's our design file. Really simple. Does it show us the fonts or anything? Doesn't look like it does, but this is our design file. You can zoom in on the design up here in the top right corner. So zoom out, zoom in again. Now it's 100%. But yeah, this is our desktop version or desktop view. It says desktop up here. And this is the mobile. So that's all we're going to have to build. We don't have to build for tablets or anything because this will fit on a tablet just fine. And this is how designs are usually broken up. There's usually like a desktop view. It'll show you the mobile view. Then it'll show you what's called the active state. And active means like what happens if you like hover over buttons or click something. It'll show you what it's supposed to look like. Okay. So we got our little design file here in Figma. I'm going to minimize this. Actually going to bring this over. I'm going to bring this over to my other screen for a little bit. Don't need it right now. We'll bring it back though. And now I'm going to open my Visual Studio Code. Go. And then within my CSS, I have like all my CSS course code that we've been going over for the whole course. And within here, I'm going to make a new folder. So I'm going to give this project its completely own folder. So click the folder icon. I'm in Visual Studio Code. And we're going to say product, call it product component. Okay. And then within that folder, I'm going to make an image folder for all of our images. Let's call it IMG. And then I'm going to make an index.html and a style.css. Okay. And then let's go ahead and what I like to do now is I like to get all my images and or assets is what they're called. Sometimes developers, they call them assets. I like to get all those into the project, into my image folder. So in the beginning, when we downloaded the Figma file, we also downloaded the starter code, and it's in here, product preview card component main.zip. So I'm going to unzip that. And then I don't need the design, I need the images. And that's another thing, guys, if you don't want to use Figma or download it, this starter kit will actually come with design images, so you don't have to have Figma. So just an FYI. But my images are here. So what is it? Icon cart.svg, this, and the favicon, which we don't need. So I'm just going to hold shift and select these three. These are really the only images. And I'm just going to drag them into this image folder in my project folder. Okay. And then just to make everything look prettier, I'm going to make another folder. Oh, don't want it in there. I'll make another folder up top, and I'll just call it CSS Course, CSS Course Lessons. And let's move all these lessons. I'm just going to hold shift and drag all these into there. And then I'm going to drag this folder in there and this folder in there. Okay, cool. So now that makes our file structure a little bit better. So this is our product. This is our project component project. So this is the only folder I'm going to have open now. And let's get out of all these. And we should have our images in here. Let's see. Yep, this is an SVG icon for a cart. This is the image, the main image, and then this is the mobile version of the image. So we have two different images for mobile and desktop. So that's where media queries are going to come into play. We're going to make one disappear and one appear on mobile. This is the desktop. So that's pretty typical. So let's make this all the way, make this bigger, and we'll get out of that. Cool. So we got our images. So now let's set up our files. So my index.html, I'm going to hit shift !tab, get my HTML boilerplate code. And I'm just going to call this page product component. You can name it something fancy if you like. You pretend like you're building like a real part of a e-commerce site for perfume if you want, whatever you want to call it. So component, if I can spell, I think that's component. And then let's go ahead and link our CSS page before we do anything else, before we forget. So I'm going to do the link tag. I'm going to hit tab, and it's already going to give me my rel with style sheet. And then I'm just going to type style.css. And then I'm going to make an H1. I'm going to call this test. We're going to make sure our style sheet is linked correctly. And before I do anything, I'm going to, well, let's go ahead and launch this. So I'm going to close that really quick. And I'm going to launch our project index.html page with the Visual Studio Code live server extension. So I'm going to hit go live. You can download it by clicking this little thing here and searching for live server and downloading it if you don't have it. You should have it by now if you've been doing the course, but some people are just going to watch this video. All right. So there we go. We launched it. And guys, if you're one of those people that's just trying to skip ahead to the project, I really encourage you to, I have a whole HTML course that you can take before this course. And then, of course, the CSS course that we're in right now. If you're new, take all of that just so you get a big overview of what we're doing. And it'll help you understand a lot better all the code that I'm going to write in here. So don't try to just skip ahead to projects only. I don't love theory, but you should have at least know some theory and some basic stuff before you jump in, okay? All right, so we have our little test here for H1. So I'm going to make sure that this thing is connected by going into my style.css, and I'm going to do a CSS reset. So I'm going to say margin, margin 0, padding 0, box sizing, border box. Cool. So I know that my page is linked because when I saved my document, all of the margin and padding went away and our test went up to the corner. I can further prove that it's connected by changing the color of my H1 to red. Yep. All right, so that's good. We're connected. So that's one of the first things you want to do, guys. Connect your style sheet, because if not, you're going to forget and you're going to start writing a bunch of styles and you're going to get mad because nothing's working. And oftentimes it's just because you forgot to connect your page. I still do it sometimes. I've been doing this for years, so yeah. All right. So let's go ahead and get started on the design here. All right, guys, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to find out the rest of the information on this for this design here. So I need to know what fonts these are and color hex codes or whatever the colors are and stuff like that. So to get that information, sometimes on these design files they have a separate little component like here, and it'll give you all that information, but it doesn't for this one. So that's okay, because in the starter code zip file that we downloaded, all of that information should be in there. So I'm going to go in my finder again, my file finder. I'm on Mac, so if you're on PC, go to your, what is it, your drive or your hard drive or whatever it is. I don't remember. But this is the product component main and design, images, index, readme, style. Here, I think it's this one, the style guide. I'm going to drag this over here, open it. And this should have everything we need. So yep, this is it, because this is the cream color. So if you watched my video on colors, you know that I hate these HSL colors. What the hell is this, dude? Like, give me a hex code. I hate this stuff, bro. But I'm going to convert these HSLs into hex codes, because I don't understand them. I don't know why they're a thing. But we'll get our fonts first, though. So looks like the fonts are Montserrat and Francis. So that's cool. So let's go grab those. We're going to go to Google Fonts, because those are Google fonts. So I'm going to type in Google Fonts. And then I'm going to click on this little shopping bag and remove any fonts that I had from whatever project I made last time. And the first one we're going to want is Montserrat. So let's type that in. Montserrat right here. And we want 500 weight and 700 weight. So I'm going to make this full screen really quick. And the weights are up here. So this is extra light italic, light 300. So we want medium 500. Okay, so we'll select that one, and then 700. So bold 700, okay? And then we also want this other one called Francis. So I'm just going to copy this and paste Francis in here. And that one is right here. We'll select it. That one is just 700. So let's select 700. Down, down, down. Bold 700. Cool. So all of our families and code that we need for them should be in here. So here they are. Yep, it's everything. I'm just going to use this link to link it to our HTML page. I'm going to copy all that code. And I'm going to put it above my style sheet. Paste it in. And then we need the font families. So I'm just going to copy these. Go to my CSS code. And we're going to go to the top. And for now, I'm just going to put those in a CSS comment. So I have them. Okay. And we'll add them to whatever elements we need to add them to. But I'm just going to put them up there for now. And that's all we need from CSS fonts. So now let's go to this style guide and get our colors. So I'm going to go to Google. And I'm going to type HSL to hex color. Just going to click on this. Never use this website, honestly. But I want hex codes for these colors because I don't like HSLs. I don't know what they are. And I'm too lazy to find out because I think they're stupid. So 158, 36%, and 37%. If you don't care, guys, you can skip this part of the video and just continue on. But so what is this? This is dark cyan. So let's go ahead and place that with that. All right, next we got cream. So cream is 30, 38, 92. Okay, so this is the hex code for that. All right, and then we got these colors here. So very dark blue. Let's see what this one is. 212, 21, and 14%. Okay, that does look like a very dark blue. I'll give that to you. Okay, here we go. 228. And so now we're getting the dark grayish blue. So 228, 12%, and 48%. Okay. And white. And white, we already know that one off the top of my head. That's just FFF. Cool, that's it. So font size for paragraphs is 14 pixels. So let's go make that here. So I'm going to say all paragraphs with the P selector. Your font size is going to be 14 pixels. So we'll just save that. And this will be like our global font or global styles area. So that's good to know. What else? What else you got for me? That's it. No sizes for headings. Okay, so this just tells you what the designs are created for. It's not really too important. So we got our colors, we got our paragraph, got that. Okay, so we'll figure out how big the headings are by trial and error. Hopefully it says it in the Figma file, but cool. So I've got my colors here, and the Figma file might have the colors too. Sometimes when you click on stuff, it'll give you the hex code or whatever. Let's see. Is there a hex code for this? I don't see one. So good thing we have them from the other file. But yeah, let's get started with the design. So the first thing we're going to do is make the whole body background green. Or not green, sorry, cream. This cream color. So let's do that. So I'm going to put this to the end. And we're going to select the body. And we're going to say background color and we're going to give it the cream color, which is this. Just going to copy, paste. There it is. Oops, I want to open that. All right, so now we're going to start creating the desktop version of this. So, all right, so it's got the picture on, it's like a card, and then it's got the picture on one side and all of the content on the other. Okay, so we can do that. So let's start by, I'm going to cheat. Just so you know, I have a 3-screen setup, so I'm going to put this design on another screen, and I'm going to be looking at it while we go. Hopefully you have 2 screens and you can do the same thing, at least 2 screens. If not, I'm going to revisit the design several times, so don't worry. But you should have the design and you should be able to look at it for yourself too. So let's see. Since this is such a small component, I'm not going to have, if you follow my other CSS videos, I have like comments for each section of the page of what the CSS is doing, but this isn't going to require too many lines of code, so we're just going to write it all in one go without a lot of comments and stuff. But so the first part of our design, well, let's break this down so you guys can understand my thinking and how I break designs down. So the first thing I want to do is I'm going to make a box for this whole design, and then I'm going to, which is going to be a div, and we'll give it like a class name or something. And then within that box, I'm going to make half of it the image and half of it the content. And we'll go like that, okay? So in my mind, I'm already seeing box, image, and then another div with content in it. That's how I'm breaking this down in my head. So let's go ahead and do that now. So I'm going to say, we'll say div, or no, sorry, dot, we'll call this the component container, I guess. That's descriptive. And then on one half of that component container, I'll put another div that says, I'm just going to call it perfume image. I'm just going to put it in a div to make it block, and so we can use like Flexbox on it. And then we're going to say image, and then we're going to say dot slash, go into my image file, and we want image product desktop, and then we'll save. There it is. And so it's super big. We're going to resize it with CSS, but that's the perfume image. Alt text will say Gabrielle Chanel perfume. Okay. And then I'm going to make another div, and I'm going to call it dot component text. Okay. So let's see how big this this little component's supposed to be, like width and height wise. Get an idea on the Figma file. So I'm just going to click this whole thing. And it says that it's 600 by 450 on the bottom here. So 600 wide, 450 tall. So we can do that. You know, we at least know the height's going to be 450, right? So knowing that information, we're going to go to CSS. Actually, before I go to CSS, let's put in all of our HTML content. So what I'm going to do now, guys, is fill in all the headings, and we'll make the button. We'll make all the content. All this stuff we're going to make right now. And then we'll resize everything, and we'll style it, okay? So we'll do all the HTML first, and then add our style second. So again, have this design up on another screen or be able to look at it with me. So the first thing is, it says perfume on the top, and the letters are kind of spaced out. So I'll show you how we'll do that effect. So let's go. That is going to be an H3, I think. Say H3. And it says perfume. And then below it, we have an H2. And it says Gabrielle essence and ow. So this is like French. EAU, ow. I don't know. I don't know French. Let me know in the comments if you know French and how I'm pronouncing that wrong. And this says parfum. Gabriel essence ow de parfum. And then below that, we will have a P. And we'll give it the description. So I could probably just copy and paste this text instead of typing it out. So I'm going to copy it and paste it from the design. If you're just using the starter code without using Figma, I think it gives you all the text in a separate file where you can just copy paste it as well. So go ahead and do that if you don't want to type it out. And then the next section we have is like a little pricing section, and I'm going to make that its own separate div. I'm going to give it its own separate container because I'm going to have to flex the prices. So I'll show you what I mean here. So we did this part, the paragraph, and now we're on this section, which is the pricing, where it has the big price in green and then the old price crossed out. That's pretty common in e-commerce. And I'm going to put it in its own little div container so I can flex them next to each other. Okay? And then below that, we're just going to have our button with our cart icon. So we're already almost done with all the HTML that we're going to need. So let's go here. And I'm just going to give this a class of pricing info, this div, because that's what the prices are going to be. And then I'm going to say that the $149.99, I'm going to give that a paragraph. I'm going to make it a paragraph and just make, I'm going to call it discount price. And we'll style it with that class, which is the discount price is $149.99. If that's the discount, like this perfume better be great. Holy crap. And then next to it, we'll do another p tag, and we'll call it original price. And the original price was $169.99, so still outrageous if you ask me. And then let's just make this design big so you can see all of our text. It's just all going below it because it's block element. So remember, block elements, this is a div, the image is within the div, and then the rest of the content is just block, so it's just stacking. Okay, so that's doing what it's supposed to do. Doesn't look, it looks really ugly right now, but remember, we're going to style it up, so don't worry. And then we're going to make a button. We're going to make an add to cart button. But I think within that button we might have to do, because we have this icon here. Not quite sure how I want to tackle that yet. The icon is like within the button, so I think I can just paste the SVG code inside the button and make it work that way, but we'll come back to that. We'll see. We'll see what happens. So let's go, let's just say button. And then within the button, I don't know if this is even possible, image./image icon cart. Say cart icon for the alt text. And then after the image, let's say add to cart. See how that looks with just the HTML. Does that work? Yeah, it does work. Look. I think I've ever done this before, so I think that works. Since they're next to each other, we'll just style it up. That's cool. Never really had to do that. Not in a long time, at least. But yeah, that's all of our HTML, guys. So we have the image on all the content. So now all we have to do is put the content side by side and give it a height and a width. And so give our perfume component container thing a height and width. So again, it's going to be 600 by 450 according to Figma. And then we're going to flex everything so that the image is on one side and the content's on the other side. And then we'll space it out and then give it the fonts that it needs and everything like that. So almost halfway there. Pretty much halfway there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select my component container class, which is remember, this is the div, the container that has all the content in it. And I'm going to go down here, select it with the dot selector. Oops, dot component container. And we are going to give this a width of 600 pixels and a height of 450 pixels. And then we're going to say display, we're going to say flex, align item center, and justify content center. Okay, let's see what that looks like so far. So there it is. So it's side by side now, so it looks pretty ugly. So the image is going to get a width of 300. Which is going to be like half the container size, and it's going to still have a height of 450 though. So let's style our image up so that it's not so big. So let's go grab that image with its class. And what did we get? Oh, did we not even give it one? Oh, perfume image. So we'll say dot perfume image img. Say width 300 pixels. And then I think the height is already going to be the 450 since the container is. Let's see. Yeah, it's already going to be 450, but whatever. We'll put that in there. And then we will select our component text class. So that we just did the image. Now we're going to do the component text div, which is all of our contents inside it. And we're going to go down here. Select it with the dot selector, and the background of that is going to be white. So background color, we'll do hashtag FFF. And then we'll say width 300 pixels. And then height 450 pixels. Cool. So we got our little component card starting to form here. Very nice. All right, guys. So we have a lot of the design done here, and all we really need to do is style our text and style our button and everything. But before we go any further, we see how this is like way off in the corner. We want this in the middle of the page. We don't want it stuck in the corner here. It looks pretty ugly. So we're going to fix that by going down to our component container code. And it has a width and a height. So because it has a width and a height, we can actually use the margin auto feature to center it. So top and bottom, we're going to say like 6 rem. And then left and right, we're going to say auto for margin. And should bring it to the center and then bring it down a little bit because I don't want it sucked up to the page either. So there it goes. Now it's in the center. Okay. So that looks good. So now let's go ahead and style up our text here. And we can see from the design that we'll start with the perfume. It's got that like light gray or steel color or whatever it is. And then it has the letters are all capitalized and then they're spaced out. And that spacing, that is a CSS property that you can use called letter spacing. So we'll do that. And yeah, so let's go ahead and work on that first. So perfume, did we give the perfume a special class? Let's see. We didn't, so. Is it the only H3 on the page? It is, but you know what? It's best practice. If we're pretending like this is like for a bigger website, we'll give it a spaced text class or something like that. Just to give it its own class to select it by. So, and then I'm going to put it first here because this is going to be the first thing that we style. I like to write my CSS styles in the order that they appear on the page. So that's why that'll be the first one because it's on the top. So we'll say dot space text. We'll say padding 1 rem all around because it's kind of in the corner. Might actually be 2 rem. So let's do that. Okay. Yeah. And you know what? Looking at our design, all of the content pretty much has that 2 rem all the way around padding. If you look at the design, see how it's all like in. That's like 2 rems, top and bottom. So we can actually just do all the text 2 rem. So no, let's go grab our HTML component text class. This is everything, all of the text. So the div starts here and ends at the button. And, oh, I already grabbed it, sorry. We'll just make padding 2rem up here. Okay, style everything at once. Cool. And then we can get rid of that. But now we can give it the color that it needs. So this is the dark grayish color, I think. What is this? Is it dark cyan? Maybe? Or dark grayish blue? Let's see. Perfume. I think that's the correct color. But now we have to give it the correct So I think it's the monster rat one. Let's see. It's not very clear to me. Usually the Figma files are really good about telling you what's what, but this one isn't telling me anything. Monster rat, and then it is a lesser font weight, so it's going to be the 500 font weight. So font family, I'll say font weight 500. Yeah. And then it's all uppercase text. So we're going to say text transform. And we're going to say uppercase. Now it's all uppercase. And then the font size is pretty small. We have our font size in here at least? No. I'd say the font size is maybe like 15 pixels. I'm not getting a font size for this either, unfortunately. No, looks like less, dude. Let's try like 10 pixels. And then there's letter spacing on here. So let's do letter spacing, and let's give it like 2 pixels of spacing between the letters. There we go. Maybe even 3 pixels. Yeah. And this text might even be smaller. This might be like 8 pixels big. It's pretty small. Now let's go with 9. Okay, so that looks like pretty close to the design. Are the letters spaced out even more? They're spaced out a lot. All right. What is dark cyan? I want to see what this dark cyan color is really quick. Just to make sure we have the right color on here. Oh, that's green. It's definitely not that. So it's got to be that color. So that looks pretty close to the design. Now, there's some spacing between this heading and this. So let's say padding bottom 1.3 rem. So 1 rem is equal to 16 pixels, guys. So 1.3 is like 19 or 20 pixels probably. And that looks a little bit too much. Let's say like 1.2 rem. Maybe just 1 rem. Yeah. So that's good. So let's style up this text. I'm pretty sure this is going to be the Francis font, and it's going to be the 700 weight because that's what we downloaded it as, or it's the one that it told us to get. And this is the gunmetal color, so I think this is the only H2 on our page. So I'm just going to select it with the H2 selector. And we're going to say color. And it is, we have the gunmetal one. There's a it's probably dark grayish blue. Oh, let's select that. Let's see. Let's It's not that, but you know what? That might actually be... Oh, that is that. So this one's actually the dark blue. Very dark blue right here. So it almost looks black, but it's dark blue. Yeah, there it is. And then the font size looks pretty close already by default. So I think the default font for an H2 is like 26 pixels or something, or 24, and that actually looks pretty good. But as we can see from the design, show you what I see here, is it's not, the width of this is not all the way. There's like more padding on the sides, or the width of this isn't 100%. So we're going to use the width property to make these letters stack on top of each other like that. So I'll show you how we do that. Let's say width, and then we'll say like 50%. That's a little bit too much. So let's use our developer tools. I'm going to right click and hit inspect. And I'm going to manipulate the width on this until it looks how the design looks. So I'm gonna select the selector thing, and I'm gonna click on the H2, and then let's see if I can get this to move up here. Let's get rid of this. There we go. So here's my H2, and I'm gonna highlight the 50% by just clicking on it, and then I'm gonna use my arrow keys on my keyboard to make it go more width and less width. And this is actually it right here. So like 60% width will do the trick, because that's how it looks in the design. It's one word, two words, two words. So let's see if I can make this bigger. What's the max we can make it? I'll say 65%. So let's just go save that. That's not going to save it in the code. We have to actually go over to our code and save that. So we know it's going to be 65%. And let's make sure our font weight is 700. And then let's make it, see how big is this by default. 24 pixels. Okay, so let's say font size 28 pixels. Let's make this slightly bigger than the default. There we go. That looks better. And then let's go ahead and give this some margin bottom, because this text is shoved up to it when it shouldn't be. And we'll say 2 rem. Okay, let's see. That might be too much. Maybe like we'll say 1.5 rem. So 2 rem, that was 32 pixels, so we're going to take some pixels off of that. There we go. Say 1.3. Yeah, that's better. Okay, so our H2 is all set. And as you can see, guys, this is how you do CSS. This is how you do front-end web development. You go little piece by little piece. Break each little element down into little chunks. Break this big problem down into little tiny small problems, and just solve the problems one by one, okay? So that's how you always do it. Never, if you're looking at something and you get really intimidated, just always know we're going to do one element, one little baby step at a time. And that's how you finish a big project. All right, so let's move down to our paragraph text here. This is like the only paragraph text. I'm going to put a class on it, though. That's not the only one. My bad. We'll say perfume. Oops. Say class perfume text. And then we'll select it. We'll say dot perfume text. Okay. And it's got the same text color as this little perfume up here. So I'm going to say color, and it's this one. And then this is going to be Montserrat. So we can make all of our paragraph text Montserrat by default. So let's just do that. Let's say font family. Actually, let's just copy it from up here. There, and everything is Montserrat, and it's 14 pixels. And then let's push it down a little bit. Let's push this pricing content down. So we're going to say margin bottom 2 rem. Actually, padding bottom. There we go. And then for this, we're actually going to change it to padding. Bottom. Okay. And then, as you can see in the design, I'll show you the design here. The text has like white space in between it, and that's line spacing. So by default, there's like no line spacing, but we're going to add some line spacing. That's what it's called, to add the white space in here. So let's go do that. Let's go perfume text line, or sorry, it's not line spacing, it's line height. Let's say 1.7. That looks like it's a little too much. Let's say 1.5. Yeah, that's pretty close. How about 1.6? Yeah, I like that. Looks pretty good. Very close to the design. So give it some spacing. And now we're going to move down to the pricing area and the button. So let's look at the pricing area together really quick. Remember, we made a separate div where we put the prices in, the old one and the new one. So we're going to flex them so they're next to each other. And then we'll add the color and the font to this one. And then we'll cross this one out. I'll show you how to do that. Now let's go here. And we're going to select our pricing info little div here. So let's say dot pricing info. And we'll say display flex. Now they're side by side. Say align items center. And justify content. See what space evenly looks like, because they are spaced. Looks okay. But I really don't want to do that actually, because I still want them to be side. I want them to be in line with all the other content here. So we'll just use some padding on one of them to move it over. So let's do that. Do I have a? Yeah, I do. So I've got the discount price class that we'll select this paragraph with the discount price class. So let's say dot discount price. And we'll say padding right 1 rem. There we go. Moves it over. That's good. And now, looking at the design, it looks like it's a lot bigger. So the font size, well, the font family is going to be the Francis family. So let's do that first. Okay. And then font size, it looks like it's almost bigger than this. So let's do like 30 pixels or 32 pixels. Probably 30 pixels is good. And then it's got that color, I think it's the dark cyan color, which I think cyan is green. So, boom, there it goes. Looks just like the design. And then we got this one over here. We're going to put a line through it and make it the same color as this text, that grayish color. So let's go select that. And we name this class original price. And see, guys, how I gave my classes really descriptive names so we could really easily know what they are. Make sure you always do that. A lot of developers like to take shortcuts and make like these class names that are just really short and abbreviated, but I don't like that. I like to be really explicit with my class names. I don't want to have to guess on what stuff is just to look cool or whatever. I don't know why other developers do it like that, but yeah. So let's give it that, let's say color. And we'll give it that grayish color. And then we're going to put the line through it. So I think we can do text, let's see, text decoration line through, I think. Yep, it works. I don't think I've ever used that before. So that was off the top of my head, just guessing. So yay for me, I got it right. All right, so we'll do line through there. That looks just like the design. I'm very happy with that. So let's see how the design looks compared to ours. So here's ours so far. And here's the design. You can even do like a side by side. Look at that. Pretty close, yeah? Oh. Pretty good, man. Proud of that. You should be proud of that too. All right, so now we just got to style up our button, and then we'll get that looking pretty, and then we'll make this thing mobile. Make a mobile view. So I really hope you guys are enjoying this little project here. This is fun. This is my favorite thing to do, guys, is have an empty file and then build a design out. I love it. So let's go back. Oh, where'd my code go? It's over here. Bring my code back so you guys can see it. All right. And make our little add to cart button here. So let's grab it with button. Okay, and we'll give it a background color of that green color. We're going to say border none. And then we're going to give it a width of 100% because it's basically has 100% width of our content in the design. And then let's see, is there a height for this? It says 236 by 48. So let's say width 236 pixels and height 48 pixels. Because that's what the design says on if you're in Figma with me. If you highlight it, it says 236 by 48. So we'll just go with that, and then we'll adjust that for the mobile view. We'll have to make it smaller, but that's fine. Oops. So we also have like a little border radius on the edges of this button, and it's not anything huge, but it makes it slightly rounded. So let's just guess and say like border radius 4 pixels. Yeah, that looks like the design. I think I nailed it. And then let's give it some margin. Margin top 1.4 rem. Yeah, let's say 1.6 rem. Here we go. Looks good. Now let's make the color white so that all of our text is colored white. And then the font family is going to be the Montserrat again. Let's do that. Oops. There we go. Looking good. Now let's go ahead and see if we can target our little SVG image. So we'll say, give it a class of cart icon. See if I can just give it some padding so that this pushes over, or you know what, actually, we'll move it over here and we'll keep the text there. So say cart icon. And we'll say padding right 5 pixels. Yeah, that pushes it over a little bit. That looks pretty good. Yeah. How about 7 pixels? Does that look better? Lucky number 7. Let's stick with that. And there's our button, guys. Let's see how it looks compared to the design. Pretty good. They're pretty dead on, man. I think we'd have a happy client if this was our client. So does our Montserrat have a bigger font weight though? Maybe it's font weight bold for that. Let's go back to our style guide. Montserrat, Montserrat 700. So where would that? I'm guessing it would have to be this text. Let's see how that looks, because like I don't understand why else we have 700 in Montserrat. I don't know what else would be the 700 font weight. So let's see. See what that looks like. If it looks like too heavy, then obviously not, but yeah, it looks a little too heavy compared to the design. I don't know what that 700 was for. Whoops. Yeah. A little confusing. I swear back in the day you used to be able to click on these things and get all the styles for them for Figma, but I'm in the design area here and I don't see anything. So gives me the widths and heights of stuff though, I guess. But yeah, it's not going to be, I don't know what was supposed to be Montserrat 700 font. If you guys know in the comments, let me know what I missed. Maybe that is. Let's see. Let's zoom in a little bit here. Maybe. I don't know. Yeah, you know what? Maybe it is. Something has to be, so it has to be that. Okay, we'll just leave it like that. My final decision. And then let's also give this a cursor pointer so that we get the pointer when we go over the button. Okay. And then remember, there's also an active state on our design. When we hover over the button, it's supposed to do something. It's supposed to change its appearance a little bit. So let's do this, zoom down, and it looks like it gets darker. So see if we can make that happen. Let's give us a color for that. Deep aquamarine. Deep aquamarine. Interesting. There's got to be a hex code for that, right? Did it give us one in the style guide for a deep aquamarine? I don't think so. We'll figure it out. I'll show you how I'm going to figure it out in a second. But let's go to our styles. And to do that to change the color of the button on hover, we're going to add a transition. And we're going to say background color 0.2 seconds, ease in. And then we're going to say button hover. And we'll say background color. And let's just change it to this dark color for now, just see if my transition worked. Yeah, it did. Cool. See how it eases in? That's a little animation that we used with the hover pseudo selector combined with the transition on my original button element. So let's find out what the hell deep aquamarine is. Can we just type that in? Hex code deep aquamarine hex code 40826D. Let's see if that's correct. Let's see if Google came through. 40826D. Let's see. No. It's like lighter. All right. I'm going to do this. I'm going to take a screenshot with my Mac. And it's going to go on my other screen. And then I'm going to go to a website called HTML Color Detector. Been using this forever. What the heck? So, that even... I don't even know what I just did there. HTML Color Detector. Colors from image. And I'm going to go to my desktop and grab that screenshot. Okay, there's a hex code. So you guys, whenever you need to figure stuff out, you're going to be doing this a lot in CSS. You just Google stuff and come up with a solution to find what you need, okay? Sometimes documentation and designs aren't going to give you all the answers. You're going to have to think outside the box, but that's okay. That's part of web development. So let's hover over this now. There it goes. Looks just like it. Perfect. All right, guys. So that's the desktop version. Now let's make this thing mobile. So for mobile, we're going to be stacking the image on top of this, and then that's pretty much the biggest change, and we'll change the widths of everything as we have to. So just show you guys what it looks like. We'll preview the mobile design together. I'll zoom out, zoom up into the mobile design. Yep. And remember, we have a mobile image that's different, so we'll be importing that. And then we're going to change the width of our whole container element. Instead of pixels, it's going to have to be percentages based on the screen size of our whatever device we're using. So we'll do that. We're going to ignore this 343 for now, and we'll do it that way. We might still keep the 611 though for the height. We can do a height, but we can't do like if you do a concrete screen size in pixels, it's going to not show up on smaller devices, smaller phones sizes, which do exist. There's like fold phones and stuff like that are like 320 pixels or 280 pixels big, and it's going to break on those phones. So, time for some media queries. So, let's type in CSS Media Queries. And I'll go to the W3 Schools link. And I'm going to go down and copy this code. Make a comment. Media Queries. And we'll copy that code from W3 Schools. I work with maximum width, so I'm going to say max width. And we'll say everything. Let's take a look at how this looks on the mobile view with our inspector tools. Right click inspect, go to the developer tools. And does this look okay on an iPad mini? Yeah, it does. Let's say cool. We'll say 657 is the cutoff for our media queries, just because I'm just seeing how it looks on 658 and it still looks good. So let's say 657. Actually, before we do anything, guys, I just noticed that you can barely tell, but the image is like not completely in line with our content because we've used margin and padding in here. So I'll show you a little trick how to fix that. I think we can use negative margins to bring the image down a little bit. So let's go to perform image, say margin top. And we'll say -5 pixels. So brought it, let's see. So maybe we can try it on the text instead. Yeah, we'll do it on the text. So we'll say margin top -2 pixels. And now they're aligned pretty much perfectly. Maybe -3. I think I still see a little bit. There we go. -4. Nope, it's -3. All right, so we went to our component text and we just gave it a margin top of -3 pixels to make these up perfectly aligned. The image and the text were a little out of line, barely. So we fixed that. And now let's move on to our mobile styling. So got our media queries here, and I'm gonna go down to like an iPhone 12 Pro screen size, and we'll style this up. So let's get rid of this code. Say, what would you say, 657? Okay, and let's get to work here. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm going to put another image in this perfume image thing, and we'll give it a class of, we'll give this one a class of desktop image, and then copy this down, and we'll give this one a class of mobile image. Okay, and then we're going to say /image for our mobile image and do image product mobile JPEG. Cool. And then we're going to take this mobile image class and we're going to go into our CSS for the desktop first. And we're going to put it below here. And we're going to say display none because we don't want it to show on desktop. Okay, so that fixed that. And then we'll copy this, and then we'll say display block in the mobile view. And then we'll make this other one display none, perfume image. Or we can just grab it by its class. What did I say? Desktop image. And we'll go down. Desktop image, display none. Cool. So we have our mobile image here. And hang on 1 second. This is actually is this the mobile one? No, that is desktop. Huh, weird. Okay. So, all right. So we got the image that's supposed to be the mobile image now. And now what we need to do is display these instead of flex row, which is the default. We're going to switch this to display flex direction column. So let's go up here to our component container. And we're going to say, go down here. So I think this code should go above here, yeah? Alright, and we're going to say, get rid of all this, because that's fine. We're going to say flex direction column. There we go. And then we're going to say width 90%. So say width 90%. Maybe more. Width 95%. Because I want it to fill most of the mobile screen here. And then height. See if we can make this taller. It says it's 611 pixels supposedly. So I don't know about that. We'll keep it there for now. We gotta make this image smaller. So 343 by 240. So we're gonna give the mobile image a width of 343 pixels. Or sorry, not a width. We're gonna change its height to 240. So it's too big. So, doesn't seem to be having any effect on it. Let's select it and see what's going on here. Perfume image. Oh. So, it's because it's actually being controlled by the perfume image div. So, let's copy that down. I forgot we had this. So perfume image, and we'll say width 90%. Let's see, with 100. Yeah, it's too big. 95. We'll say width 95%, width 95, and height 240. We can use pixels for height because it won't affect screen size. There we go. Now it looks like it's supposed to look. That is better. So maybe we should just use fixed width for this. Don't want to though. Oh, we can just get the component text. Let's grab this component text and bring it down. And we'll give it a width. Let's see, let's get rid of all this because we don't need it. Anything that you don't need to change, guys, in your media queries, you just delete it because it's just it'll just go off the code above it. You don't need to have code twice. So we'll say width 95% like the other one. So they should line up now. There we go. Oh, they don't. Interesting. Interesting. So 343. All right, let's just do this. 343 pixels. Width 343 pixels. There we go. That's better. So we'll use hard-coded widths, and then I'll just make another media query for the extra small phone screens, and it'll fit fine. So is that really all we have to do? Yeah, that's pretty much all we have to do for the mobile view, guys. It's so small here. Let me make it bigger for you. Sorry about that. It's probably been too small. So, and I have all these mobile devices up here to select from because I went to the edit thing, and you can customize what you want, all the devices you want. Every device that I have up here is like all the screen sizes for the most popular devices in portrait and in landscape. So mine's set up a very specific way for that reason. So I even have like old iPhones on here because I know that people like they'll still go on eBay and like iPhone 5s will still sell and people will like use them. So that's why I have all these older devices, because believe it or not, people in all around the world in different countries like still use them. They'll buy them on eBay and use them. So I like to have my designs work for like most phones, pretty much all phone sizes. Okay. So that's it for the mobile view. Let's make another media query for like the extra small screen sizes. Like we'll use the iPhone 5 as an example. Let's just copy this media query code. And all we're going to be manipulating here is the width of our content. So let's say max width 320. And then all we really need is these two, right? So I'll say width 300, or no. Yeah, say 300 pixels for both. So that'll fit good on here. We'll keep the heights the same, so now that fits the screen. But now there's also even smaller screen sizes. There's like, I think a 280 pixel screen size. So we'll make this max width 280. And the 280 screen size is, what is it? It's one of these weird phones. Is it this one? No. It is S9 is 320. S8. Oh, you know what? It's that S20 Samsung Galaxy. No, it's not. Where is it? It's the what is it? Galaxy Fold. Here it is. 280 pixels. So this is market share, guys. People have Galaxy Fold, so we want it to look good for them too. So we'll say 270. 270. And then it'll fit on there. And then we got to make it taller, it looks like. So let's just make our content text 550. Still doesn't look great because that phone is so small. So what we could do is just say text align center and take the padding away. So component text, the padding 2 rem, we can say padding 0 rem. Let's do that. So we're canceling out the padding from the other designs. And let's fix this. So let's get rid of the negative margin. Let's see, where's our margin top? So margin top will make that 0 pix. We don't need negative margins because we're not making the side-by-side design. So let's get rid of that. And then let's do padding 0 rem. Padding top 1 rem. There we go. I'm just trying to give some space between here and that and that. I just want to use padding top. There we go. And then this isn't centering because we have that width property on it. So let's go up and make it 100% width or something. So let's see, where is it? If you remember earlier, it was this H2, right? Yeah, see, we have the width of 65%. When you have a width on something like that, it's going to mess it up and not let it center. So we'll fix that. Get rid of all that. And let's just say width 100 and see what that does. Yeah, say width 90. That looks good. And then we're going to center it by using margin auto. There we go. Now it's perfectly centered. Again, it still wasn't centered because the width is messing it up, and margin auto will make it so that we can use the width property and still center our text. That's a little trick. And then let's just make our, this needs to be taller, huh? 650. Or no, you know what? This doesn't need to be taller. This needs to, well, yeah, let's make it 650. Then we'll make our button a little smaller. But before that, let's fix the pricing. Pricing info. Let's just say, should we justify content center? There we go. Now that's centered. And then let's make our button smaller on the screen size. I think the other screen sizes are fine. Let's see. Yeah, the other screen sizes are fine. So it's really just that. Yeah, and it looks like the button's actually centered on the other screen sizes. So we'll fix that in a second. So, well, we're about to do that now. Let's see. All right, let's go back to the Galaxy Fold. And just fix this. The button's too big, so it's too big for that screen size, so we'll just make it smaller. Now let's copy all this button code. And we'll go down here. And all this can stay the same. It's just really the height and width that we want to mess with. Okay, so the width I like, I think. Make it a little smaller, say 220. And then height, let's make it like 20, let's make it like 30 pixels. Yeah, it's too small. Make it 40 pixels, and then say, can we give it like a padding or a margin bottom? 2 rem. There we go. That looks better. Happy with that. Well, that looks good for super small screens. So let's just fix this. Pricing needs to be centered for the bigger screens. So you can actually just delete that from here and move it up here, because it'll trickle down to the smaller screen sizes anyway. And all we changed was justify content center, right? And that's not gonna, wait, is it? Oh no, sorry, it's not the pricing, my bad. It's the button that needs to be centered. So the last thing that we have to fix, guys, is the button is actually supposed to be in the center of all the mobile views. And I'll show you that if you're looking at the design with me here. See, it's in the center. Like, this stuff isn't centered, but this button is. So let's make that centered. So to achieve that, we need to we'll go to our media query for all mobiles, because I want that button centered on every mobile screen width. And we're gonna say, we're gonna select. I made a class here called center, a div. I put a div around the button called center with the class of center. So go ahead and make that now. And then what we're gonna do is we're going to say button. I'm gonna select the button, okay. And we're gonna say padding 0, because remember we have a padding of 2 rem on all of our text, our component text thing. We give it a padding of 2 rem all the way around up here. So we got to get rid of that, at least just for the button, so that we can center it. But we want everything else to say how it looks with that 2 rem padding. So we got rid of that. We zeroed that out, and then we're gonna say dot center. And then we're gonna say text align center, and then that center div will center the button. So now in all mobile views for smaller screens as well, it should just be centered everywhere, and it looks like it is. So let's check SE. Yep. Check the iPhone 12 Pro, 14 Pro Max. So yep, it's centered. Everything looks good. Let's even check the little galaxy fold. Button is still centered. So remember we did text align center on this. So let's center this as well, the pricing info, just to make it look congruent with at least our small screens. So with the 280 pix. So I'm gonna go select it here. Say dot pricing info. So guys, to make it I want to make this pricing centered too on this really small screen, just so it looks right. So I'm gonna say oops, we want to select pricing info, and we're gonna say justify content center. And what that does is it centers it, because remember in our code up here we just had it displayed flex and align center, but justify content center will center it like totally. Okay, so that's it, guys. Let's look at it on some different devices here. So remember, on bigger screen devices, according to the design, everything pretty much looks like this. But I actually think the button is centered. So yeah, we have it. It looks good, guys. Our button is centered on all the mobile views like it should be. This stuff isn't supposed to be centered. It's still supposed to have that little padding on it, according to the design. Just the button gets centered. So let's just look at that together. The mobile view. So yeah, this isn't all centered, but the button is. So this is still all over here. But for the really small 280 pixel screen for the Galaxy Fold, which people do buy, we made the decision to go ahead and center everything just so it looks good on that really small screen. And then if you turn it to the other view, it looks like the other mobile views. But sometimes, even though the design doesn't have certain things, you have to make a little executive decision just based off of like what actually looks good. So we did that there. But yeah, guys, I hope you enjoyed this little project here. We got to use Media Queries. We got to use some Flexbox. Got to use Figma, a real design software, if you've used Figma with me. And yeah, I really showed you the whole process of how to develop something. So this was one little component. But if you can build this, you can really build anything in HTML and CSS, because all web pages are in big websites. They're just a bunch of little components put together on different pages, right? That's all they are. So yeah. Hopefully you learned something here. We broke every little piece of this design down into one little separate problem, one thing at a time. And that's how you always want to attack stuff. One thing at a time. Figure out how to do one thing at a time. If you don't know how to do something, that's fine. You're never going to know everything in web development, but just solve one little problem at a time and you'll eventually get there. Okay? So thank you so much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this free CSS course, and I will see you in the next video.